Welcome back everyone. We're going to look at the offset funnel that I left you to do last week. You had to do the offset funnel and the cap that goes on either end of it. Just to remind you, this is what the orthographic drawing that you got looked like. And what we should notice straight away is that it is not a symmetrical shape. Some people thought they could do this by doing revolve, and you can't. And the reason you can't do it as revolve is because you'll notice that the centre of this part lines up with the centre of that part, lines up with the centre of that. However, it does not line up with the centre of that, so you can't do a revolve in that. And to make it a bit clearer, here's the end elevation, and you can see looking through here the various circles that give us the different diameters as we go through. So the first thing to think about is that we can't do that by revolve. The other immediate one that people went for was loft, and loft is going to be used in this one. However, we need to be careful how we do the lofting. If we simply loft from this end through each of the sketches that you would make on planes here to the other end, you would not get this shape. And I'm going to try and demonstrate that with you at the end on Inventor to give you an idea. However, what we're going to look at now is my quick and rough and ready model plan for the funnel. I'll try and take you through. I know the photograph's not that great. What I started off with here is I drew a 2D profile of a 100mm circle. And the note telling you that's just off the side of the page. The camera didn't quite pick it up. So I've got a 100mm 2D profile sketched on here. And the first thing that I did was I extruded that by addition back in that direction by 20mm to give me the first part of the funnel. And I'll just take you back to show you what that is, and that's going to give us this little part here. It's going to give us the first part of the funnel. Then what I said is, from this first initial circle, I would, step 2, create a plane, and I would create it 150mm away from that first one. I'm going to try and not move the mouse too much because it can get quite irritating if someone keeps moving the mouse on the screen. So I've got that plane there. After that, step 3, I'm going to sketch a circle profile diameter 40. But I'm going to make sure that I state that its centre is 30mm further down than the centre of this one. Now there's a little bit of arithmetic involved in that, but if you think about it, from here to here, if that's a 100mm diameter circle, that distance is 50. And from here to here on this circle, if the diameter is 40, that is 20. So we have 50 down to 20, which means there's a difference of 30. And I'll just take you back to show you what that means. So it's the distance from the centre of this circle down from the centre of this one. So the centre of that circle down from there is 30. Hopefully that's clear. I then said I'm going to, step 4, I'm going to loft between the 100mm circle, the very first 100mm circle that I had, and the 40mm circle that I've just sketched. My 3D command therefore is loft, lofting between this larger circle, the very first one that I did, and this 40mm circle here. And that's just a single loft from those two parts. What I then said was, from this end, which I've now created, I'm going to extrude, just a straightforward extrude by addition of that 40mm circle 100mm long. And that will take me along until I get to this part here. I'll flick back to our drawing. So I've lofted from here down to here. So this part is lofted from here to here, and this is a simple, straightforward extrusion by addition, 100mm long. Once I got here, I said that I'm going to create a plane which is offset from the 40mm circle by another 40mm. That's that distance between the kind of end part of the funnel. There's a 40mm difference. Then I said I would sketch a 25mm diameter circle in line with the centre of the 40mm circle. So they're what are called concentric. these two center points are right on top of each other. Then I said I would loft between these two. So loft from here to here to give me that final tapered shape. That's going to give me this shape here. And finally, what I said, just running off the bottom of the page, I'm going to shell with a wall thickness of 2 mm, and at the same time, just off the side of the page there, it says remove both end faces. So I'm going to make sure when I shell it, I click on this end, and I also click on the end round here, and that will shell it from one end to the other, and it will save us having a little piece that we have to remove. Hopefully you're familiar with that part in shelling, and if not, you'll see it when I come to do it. Let's go back to my drawing again. So what we've got is extrusion by addition for this part. So that's this part here, extrusion by addition. Then lofting from here to here. Then extrusion by addition across to here. And finally lofting, if that top bar would go away, it would help. Finally lofting from here to here. Extrusion by addition, lofting, extrusion by addition, lofting, and finally shell by clicking on that end and that end with a wall thickness of 2 mm. Now I'm going to try and show you that on Inventor right now, and I'm also going to show you what happens if you just try to create 5 sketches and loft between all 5 of them to see that you don't actually get this shape. And the thing I want you to look out for is how straight this is here. It's parallel. This is the same diameter from here all the way along to here, and I'm going to show you hopefully why that doesn't work if you simply loft from one end to the other. So here we have our 5 sketches. There's my initial sketch. I've got one 20 mm back there. These two planes from here to here are 150 apart, and that circle is down on the bottom. Its centre is 30 mm lower down than that one there is. And if I click on here, you'll be able to see that. So the distance down is 30 mm. I've then got another circle which is 100 mm further along from that on a new plane. And finally my last plane, I've got a 25 mm circle whose centre is concentric with that one. What I'm going to do now is just loft between all 5 of them, and we'll see what happens. And if I say OK on that, it kind of looks alright. However, when I look on here, we can see that this is not parallel. This has started to sweep up and down. And that's just because of the way that I lofted it. Now there's a couple of things I could do. I'm going to show you the nice quite easy way to fix that. I'm just going to undo my loft, and I'm going to loft between each of them individually, and that will give me the correct answer. So I'm going to loft from here to here and say OK. Then I'm going to loft again from here to here, say OK. I'm going to loft again from here to here, say OK, and finally loft from there to there and say OK. Now when I look on it, I can see that I've got parallel edges. This top edge is parallel to that one there, and that edge is parallel to that one there, so I've got the correct answer that I was looking for. Last thing I have to do is make sure that I shell it and take the end off. So I'm going to shell, and I'm going to set my wall thickness to 2, and I'm going to click on this end, and I'm going to remember to spin it around and click on this end and then say OK. And what I have now is my shelled funnel all the way from one end to the other. So the point to remember about that is when you are lofting, you need to be careful and have clear in your mind exactly what it is you want to loft and in what stages you want to do it. Now I was going to show you the other alternative way to do that, which would be extruding that way, then lofting this way, then extruding that way and lofting that way. But I'm fairly certain you could probably figure that out now, that would also work. So what I'm saying is we can create the whole thing by lofting, but you have to be careful the way that you loft it. You can't simply loft from one all the way through each of the sketches at once, or you'll end up with something which is too curvy. Or you could do extrusions for this part, loft, extrusion and loft, and that would also work. Or you could do it the way that I did it, which was a loft in stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 and stage 4. And remembering at the end to shell it and remove both ends. Hopefully that's made some sense and it's given you a few things to think about. I'll put this onto YouTube and you should see it later on today.